Today we're going to be taking a look at a RCBS Summit Press, and that's coming up next here on Jesse B Outdoors Reloading. Welcome back everybody, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below if you like videos like this. First off, I'd like to thank RCBS for sending this press out to the channel for us to try out. What we're going to do is we're going to take it over to the table, unbox it, show you everything it comes with, tell you some of the features about it, and then I like to thank Inline Fabrication for sending the quick mount plate out for this. We'll get that hooked up, get it set up on the desk, and we'll make up some dummy rounds with it, and I'll give you my final thoughts on it at the end. So let's get started. Alright, just like the last thing from RCBS here, the box is a little bit too big for my little table area, but we're going to open it up here so I can show you what it looks like. As always, the packaging is very nice on RCBS. We got our instructions right here, and we're going to open this up real quick, and you can see everything is in color, very nicely detailed. Always great stuff from RCBS like that. And then we're going to peek inside here. Basically the only thing that's going to be inside here is going to be the handle and the press and everything. I'm going to get that all out and show you that here in a second. Alright, here's everything that comes in the package. You get the press, you get the lever, and then you get your primer catch bin from Spent Primers, and that's everything you get here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this set up on the Inline Fabrication quick mount setup, and then we'll go over some of the features about it. Now I got my Inline Fabrications plate here on the press here. I'm going to show you guys why I absolutely love Inline Fabrications. I have this small desk that I do all my reloading on. I have this flush mount plate with a spacer. This makes it so nice. All I got to do is grab this press, stick it down in here, the tongue. You got these two screws right down here. They go down in that hole. Then you have your wing nuts here. Put your wing nuts on, and that's all you need to do to change your press out. Absolutely love this system. I like to give a huge shout out to Dan at Inline Fabrication for sending this out to the channel. I've got some stuff from him before, and I also buy stuff from him. Great company, American made stuff. Goes good with the RCBS here. I'm going to finish getting this set up and I'll be right back. Alright, now what I'm going to do here is I am going to put the primer catch on. And you have two different ways to mount these. That's real nice. You can mount it flush like this, or you can flip it upside down and have it straight and mount it like that. So they give you two different options on how to do it. They give you two little screws, and there's two little holes right down here, and you just thread these in. So I'm going to get these threaded in real quick. Now these you don't want to get real tight, because basically the way these are made, they go in and then pull down and sit on them, so you really don't need to get these too tight here. So I'm going to get these threaded in and get it all set up the way I want it. And there you go. That's all you need to do to put the primer catch on there. And then you just lift up and pull back. And then if you want to have it this way, turn it upside down. And then you put it on like that, and it'll catch the primers that way. Very nice and simple. Now the last thing we got to do is put the handle on here. And this is ambi. You can put it on this side if you're left-handed, this side if you're right-handed. And then you just got to get lined up here and get it threaded in. And this is basically all you need to do to set up this press. Now if you don't have the Inline Fabrication, of course you would have to drill holes. Or RCBS does sell a plate where you can use for multiple presses of theirs. But you can see we just thread this in here. Now this does have a spot here to put a wrench. I never do that. I always just get it hand tight. And that always works for me. And you can tell that this thing is very nice and smooth. It is already lubed from the factory, so you don't have to worry about that. But man, that is very nice and smooth. I think the one option I might go for though, they have a shorter handle, and I think I might get that shorter handle for it, and that'll make this even better. Now let's go over some of the features about it. The Summit Press has compound leverage and ambidextrous design. It features a 4.5-inch operating window, and it has 4.25-inch ram stroke. This is a great press to use for benchtop use. With this press, the die is moved down to the case. The press adapter bushing for 7/8 14 thread dies. Can use a 1-inch 14 threaded dies with an optional press adapter sold separately. It uses standard shelled holders and has a spent primer catcher. It has a massive 2-inch diameter ram, And it has a Zerk fitting for lubrication. And the final great feature about this press is it's covered by RCBS's limited lifetime warranty. Alright, now we're actually ready to load here. Like I said, this thing is nice and smooth on here. Really like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take my shell holder here. And these actually twist in and twist out. They don't just pop in. It's got a twist to it. So that's something that's a little bit different if you guys aren't used to that. Just so you guys know here. And then what I have is my RCBS 223 dies here. These are the small base dies. Now these I did pick up on my own. I didn't get these from RCBS. And what I'm going to do is get the sizing die out here. And we are going to make sure everything's nice and tight on there. We're going to thread this in. And then we're going to do like I normally do when I set my dies up. I'm going to put the ram down in this case. And I'm going to thread this in here and get it all nice and set up. And then I'm going to reach over here and grab my case gauge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to load 5 of these up. And we're going to make dummy rounds just to see how this goes here. Now the one thing I do like about this RCBS die, it has a little breather hole here. And what that is for is if you use too much lube, a lot of times it'll dent your shoulders. And that's going to help keep it from denting. So now I got to reach back here and grab my wrench. Totally unprepared for this as always, but you know I don't cut anything out here. And then what we're going to do, since we're all the way down, we're just going to snug that up here. That seems like we're good to roll on that. So now, as you guys know, I use my RCBS lube pad here. This is something else I also bought. Not everything that is sent to me from RCBS, I do like their stuff. And then I got their K-Slick lube here. I actually pick all this stuff up at the local farm store by my house. So we're just going to put a couple squirts here on that. Don't need nothing too crazy. Grab our 5 rounds here. Put them on that pad and we are going to roll them. Now these have been deprimed already, so we're not going to get to see how that priming feature works. Grab those here. They ran away from me. Alright, get these nice and lubed up here. Then we're just going to try these out. See how these size here. Very nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these 5. And then I'm going to wipe them off and run them through the case gauge to make sure they're sized right. But that is nice and smooth. I can definitely tell though, I do want to get that shorter arm on this because this is a heck of a throw. You definitely can get some leverage with this with no issues at all. Very nice and smooth though, just like my RCBS rock chucker. Definitely like how everything's stationary down there and everything comes down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a rag and get these wiped off. Alright, now we got those all wiped off here. I got my case gauge here and we're going to drop those down in. Nice and flush. Come right back out. That's just the way we want it right there. We're going to check all 5 of them. So now we know that these are back to factory spec. So when I continue with these, when I actually use them, all I gotta do is check to trim them, because it seems like everything else on here is good to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some bullets, and we're going to see some bullets in these and make some dummy rounds. Dropped it on the floor. I'll get that here in a second. Alright, now we're going to take our bullet seat and die here and get this threaded in. And even though this is about the press, I like telling you guys what I do. I always take it down, set it over the case here. Then I thread it down until it touches the case mouth, which is the crimp feature of the die, and then I back it off a little bit. That's just the way I like setting these up, so you guys can see how it goes on here. Just keep threading and threading. Right there I hit, so I'm going to back it off just a little bit. Put my nut down here. Get that to where it's snug. Alright. Now we got that all set up, let's move on to the next step. Alright, now we're going to raise the ram here, and we're going to take one of our bullets here, We're going to sit that right on there. Bring this down. And we are going to thread this down until we touch the bullet, which is right there. Lift up a little bit, thread it down. And I'm going to see if that bullet seated in there, and you can see it did. And this bullet has a cantilever on it, so we got to come down a lot. So what I'm going to do is just raise that ram a little bit, thread it down there, double check this. And then when I get close to that cantilever, what I'm going to do is go in smaller increments until I get there. Not going to bore you guys with this. Once I get it on, I'll be back. Alright, I got it where I want it at 2.200. So I'm going to lock this down here. That way everything is good to roll on this. Get it tightened up here. There we go. Oops, moved my die a little bit. Gonna have to double check that there. We got it nice and snug. Alright, I am still dead on. Good to roll on that. So now what we are going to do, since we are set up perfectly fine on that, we are going to knock these other 5 out here real quick. Should go nice and quick on this. Nice leverage on it. Of course, we got that long handle here. But this is where I think this press is going to be really good. Is for somebody who's making up rounds. Like precision rounds. This press will probably be great for that. Very nicely done. Very smooth. Just like my RCBS rock chucker. Oop, drop that one right down there. Get that one from rolling. And we will put our last bullet here from the 5. And I mean, just like everything else I have from RCBS, this thing is rock solid. Very nice. We're going to put it back in our gauge here. You can see right there, nice and smooth. Drops right out. We'll check all 5 of these real quick just to make sure there's no inconsistencies just from seating the bullets. And it looks like all 5 of these are going to be just fine. And now these are set up to factory spec and ready to roll. I think I'm going to like this press. Alright, so what's my final thoughts here of the RCBS Summit Press here? This is just a setup and a one-time use only. Of course, I will be using a lot more and do future videos with it to give you a further opinion on it. As for my initial thoughts on here, one negative that I can think of, I always start off with negatives, and that is this long, and I mean very long handle. For what I have going on here, this is too long. Yes, you get a lot of leverage with it, but they do sell the shorter arm for it, and I will pick that up here. I do have to put an order in where I got to order some ram primers for my bench primer, and I'm probably going to pick this shorter arm up for this short throw arm when I order that for myself. Any other negatives I could think about it is, I can't think of any other negatives. Positives. This thing, just like my RCBS Rock Chucker Supreme, smooth as butter. Really like that about it. Oh, I'm going to go back to a different negative here real quick too. There's no way to prime on this press, but you can buy a priming ram prime system, and you can throw that on here where the priming ram would be right here, and then you would put the shell holder on top. That way you would be able to prime on this. Where I think this press is going to be is for somebody who likes doing precision reloading or something like that for rifle. That's where this is nice and compact, and that's where it's going to come in handy. Talking about being compact, one way I could see this being used is this taking it out to the field with you, out to the range, to make your loads up out there. You get a Uniflow like this one here on a stand and put it on a piece of wood. With this press, clamp it down to your tailgate or to the picnic table or whatever, and you could reload your rounds right there on the range with this setup, and it would be perfect for that. One thing I really like, there's no overhang. Like with my Rock Chucker Supreme, the ram hangs down over, and I actually got a drawer right here. But with every other press I have, I cannot use this drawer at all. So I only keep stuff that I don't need to get to that often in this drawer. But with this press, even with the primer catch facing down, I can open this drawer with absolutely no issues. So that is very nice. And then, like I was saying, taking it out to the range, I've seen some people do the 5-gallon bucket reloading where they fit all their reloading stuff into a 5-gallon bucket. This would be perfect for that also. Nice, compact. If you don't have a lot of bench space, that's where this is going to come in handy also. Because basically the footprint is real small of this, and it goes straight up. If you guys know, this is like a college dorm room desk that I actually use. It works perfect because it's beefy and heavy, but there's not a lot of room on it. So that's where this also comes in handy. If you have multiple presses and you got a tight fit and you want 2 presses, that's where this would come in good. Or if you just want this for a press, that's another thing. Because you can always, like I said, you could buy a ram prime for this, or you can a hand prime, or get a bench primer and do that also. But so far, like I said, I think it's going to be a great press here. I'm going to order up that shorter handle for it and try this out. So look for future videos with this. And actually, we made some 223 dummy rounds on here. So I think the first full video we're going to use it in, we're going to load up some 223 and we're going to put this and that Uniflow to work here. Once again, I'd like to thank RCBS sending this out to the channel, and I am an affiliate of RCBS, but like always, if I have any problems, I will let you guys know. So as always, don't forget to check the links out down below. Down there, I'm going to have links to Axel Hearing Protection, Gators Eyewear, and a bunch of other companies I like dealing with. Some of them got discount code to save you guys money. Others are affiliate accounts that do help out the channel. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below. We are one nation under God, and I'll see you all on the next one.